Well, hello, BookTube and the YouTube world. Welcome to the History Shelf. My name is Peg, and today's a special fiction edition. I know a lot of you have said, please separate out when you're doing history and when you're doing fiction. This is all fiction, and it's a fiction book haul. I thought I should make this book haul video at this time in order to serve you, the discerning viewer, to let you know that these fiction pickups, as you can tell by the title, I got them all for $5.99. These were a couple of my last orders during Book Outlet's big, very popular $5.99 fiction sale. Every item of fiction, doesn't matter if it's paperback or hardcover, is $5.99. If I move too much, my camera keeps going out of focus. Ugh. Technology, am I right? So I thought I would just try to blaze through. I've got 2 stacks. I may not be able to get through all the different books I picked up, but spanning a wide variety of genres. So if fiction is your jam and you like to be surprised, you like to see what other people are reading, and if you wonder what Peg here at the History Shelf likes to read outside of history, especially when it comes to fiction, now you've got your answer. Stay tuned. We're going to be going through a lot of different books. So having said that, let me let you know, if you find some novels here that appeal to you, the $5.99 fiction sale is on right now at bookoutlet.com. So go check it out. I don't know. You can't get much cheaper than that outside of going to a thrift store and finding something used. But thrift stores around here for books stink. So I'm forced to buy things online. Frankly, I've gone to places where they sell used books, and it's just, I never find the wealth of books that a lot of you guys out there do. Like, oh, look at me. I just went to a thrift shop the other day and I found this rare, all the stuff that I look for, like meaty, juicy history, intellectual, essays. It's just garbage out here in Colorado. So having said that, yes, I am Peg. I am at the History Shelf. I'm your host. So let's dive into this $5.99 fiction bonanza book haul. All right, let's start off with this. Book Outlet will have from time to time a nice selection of Penguin classics. And so whenever I find that I want to add to my collection of certain books, I'll wait for this $5.99 fiction sale. So I picked up 3. Penguin classics. Let me show you. I'm adding, and I think this might be a duplicate. I may need to check on this, but when they come in, they're very rare. They have low stock. So you have to either make the decision to get it or it's going to be gone. I've got 2 more editions of Elizabeth Gaskell, the classic writer from the Victorian era, I believe. I picked up Mary Barton, which I believe is the one that my friend and author, prize-winning author, Graham Watson, who is an expert pretty much on Gaskell as well as Charlotte Bronte and all things Bronte. But he said, I believe it was Mary Barton. And Graham, if you're watching, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you said that would be a good one for me to start with. So I picked up Mary Barton. I'm not going to read all of the descriptions because I've got a huge stack of books, guys. So, this was written in 1848. It powerfully dramatizes the class divisions of the 1840s. So I'm looking forward to, getting into Elizabeth Gaskell at some point. Don't know when, but I have it. So when I'm ready, I can get to it. And then I picked up Elizabeth Gaskell's other work, Ruth. $5.99. Brand new, except for just the remainder mark, So I was happy to get that. And then I took a chance on this very slim volume, only 144 pages, but it sounded really interesting. For this, I will read the back because I've never heard of it, but I'm also very interested in the topic, and I think this is going to give us, is it? Wow. Yes, it is a piece of fiction, but it speaks about an issue in India, which by the title you can see is called Untouchable. This is by Mulk Raj Anand. See, very slim volume. This one says, Baka is a young man, proud and strong. He is also an untouchable in India's caste system. Sweeper and toilet cleaner, the lowest of the low, he must warn others on the streets so that he will not pollute them with his presence. As he seeks comfort in a wrapper of sweet jalabis, I don't know what that is, a violent encounter leads him to question his fate and find an answer in the unlikeliest of places. Into this urgent 1935 recreation of one day in the life of an outcast, Mulk Raj Anand poured a vitality and fire that led him to be claimed as his country's Dickens. So untouchable. Yeah, so now I could add this to my collection of Penguin classics that I actually need to get all in one place. Most of them are down in my parlor, but I'd like to get them on the shelf behind me or in another spot in the house. Okay, I'm gonna have to get a new camera. It's driving me crazy. All right, and we're gonna move into like thriller, mystery, and thriller. This is the sequel to a book I previously purchased at I haven't read yet at Book Outlet. I really enjoy Swedish or like Scandinavian noir. They're kind of gritty crime, procedurals and detectives and stuff like that, and mysteries. I love that kind of stuff. And here's a new author I had never read before, and this is the second in this, and it's called the High Coast series. This is the second. I've shown the first one ages ago in like a mystery thriller book haul. That book, the first book in the series, was called We Know You Remember, and the author's name is Tove Alsterdal. And this is the sequel to that, or the second in the series, and it's called You Will Never Be Found, by Tove Alsterdal. Yeah, set in the Arctic Circle. This is set in Arctic Circle, but just like another nice cold mystery thriller with, these Swedish, or not Swedish, but Scandinavian detectives. And I love a good murder mystery. What can I say? As you well know, I did a Marple a month for almost a year, and I'm only 2 novels away from finishing it. So I picked this up for $5.99. So again, a lot of these books that I'm going to show you were in a sense to complete something I've started. Some books that there's a lot of different reasons why I bought all these titles, and I'll just try to keep it brief, but we know that's a losing battle, right? Historical fiction fans, you might be interested in this. Also, I really enjoy this writer, and it looks like she co-authored this novel. But it's about 2 women, and one of them I have been really intrigued by and is coming back into my life again, because I'm interviewing an author who authored this woman's biography. I'll be interviewing her next week or the week following. But this one is called The First Ladies by Marie Benedict, whom I've read. I really enjoy her stuff, and Victoria Christopher Murray. And if you can take a guess, who would this be about? The First Ladies. Again, I picked it up for $5.99. This is a novel about the extraordinary partnership between First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt and civil rights activist Mary McLeod. I have to figure out how to say her middle name. Mary McLeod Bethune, an unlikely friendship that changed the world. The daughter of formerly enslaved parents, Mary McLeod Bethune, refuses to back down as white supremacists attempt to thwart her work. She marches on as an activist and an educator, and as her reputation grows, she becomes a celebrity, revered by titans of business and recognized by U.S. presidents. Eleanor Roosevelt herself is awestruck and eager to make her acquaintance. Initially drawn together because of their shared belief in women's rights and the power of education, Mary and Eleanor become fast friends, confiding their secrets, hopes, and dreams, and holding each other's hands through tragedy and triumph. And then it goes into some more stuff here. This is the story of 2 different yet equally formidable, passionate, and committed women, and the way in which their singular friendship helped form the foundation for the modern civil rights movement. So yes. Oh, actually, let me show you who I'm talking about here. I reviewed this book well over a year ago. I almost feel like it's been 2 years. It's probably not that long. But I just got the paperback version. And again, I'll be interviewing the author of this, Nola Way Brooks. This is a passionate mind and relentless pursuit, the vision of Mary McLeod Bethune. I've got to figure out that middle name. Yeah, but what this woman, she was just so inspiring. Her life, her dedication to not only just, equal rights and civil rights for African Americans, but just her passion for education is amazing. And she was indeed, this is based on history. They were indeed, Eleanor and Mary McLeod Bethune were became, partners in the struggle, and they were friends. So yeah, I had to get this because I had already, read this book and written a review on it, and now I'm interviewing the author in a couple weeks. So it just made sense that I should check out this historical fiction. So if you're interested, check that out. I think there's plenty stock on hand for that book. Let me get into a couple of pieces of is this World War I fiction? Yes, I've got World War I fiction. These are 2 novels I had never seen before, and I'm eager to check them out. One of these is an old-fashioned mass market paperback, you guys. Not going to see many of these anymore. This is by Kevin Major, and this is called No Man's Land. Sorry for the glare. It's a little bit beat up, but it's not too bad. But yeah, No Man's Land. It's set in France during World War I. And No Man's Land pulls us into the lives of the young men of the Newfoundland Regiment as they prepare to set out for the trenches in what will come to be known as the Battle of the Somme. This is a classic war novel. The book is equally effective in its portrayal of the camaraderie and unnatural quiet before the storm, as in its graphic account of the fight to make it through the barbed wire and sweep of machine gun bullets. 272 Newfoundlanders who went over the top on July 1st, 1916 were killed. No regiment suffered more casualties. It was the single greatest disaster in the island's history. And Kevin Major has written this novel, which came out this is put out by Anchor Canada. So this is a 1995. It came out in Canada. So I'm intrigued. I wanted to pick it up. And then I've got another World War I novel, not too big. This is The Wars by Timothy Findley. Penguin Modern Classics. The Wars. Let's see. Grieved by the death of his older sister Rowena and seeking escape from the stifling confines of Victorian society, 19-year-old Robert Ross enlists in the Canadian Army to try and absolve himself of the guilt and grief he carries with him. Thrust into the world of war, in all its cruelty and death, Ross fights to cope with his deeply troubled psyche and, in a final act of desperation, prove his commitment to life. Set in World War I amidst carnage and corpses, blood, and nightmares, The Wars is a harrowing psychological novel of a young man's quest to survive emotional and physical warfare, which is right up my alley. I've always been very intrigued by the psychology of what happens to the human psyche when confronted with sights that are harrowing and horrifying in the extreme, terrifying, and what that does to a person's mind. So, Timothy Findley, The Wars, I picked that up. Okay, moving all along. So I thought this might appeal to some of you who like collections of stories. What do they call them? Omnibuses or anthologies, I should say. This is so interesting. This book was put out by William Morrow. And there's one there's one more that I have to get in this series. Okay. This came out in 2016. Anyway, it's called A Song of War. Okay, now get this. It's interesting. It calls it a novel. but it's a novel made up of separately written short stories, like written by different people. This is A Song of War, a novel of Troy. All right. And as you can see, these are all the contributors to this novel. Yeah, put out by William Morrow. And it says here, from 7 masters of historical fiction comes a richly imagined anthology. Okay, thank you. It's an anthology of stories that brings the epic tale of the Trojan War to life. And it kind of gives you the different stories that are the, the summaries of like what each story is about. But as you can see, there's another one. Well, there's one here that this is the one I want to get about Pompeii. So I might have to order that one separate. It's not, I didn't see it available on Book Outlet, but this one is like 500 pages and I got it for $5.99. That was fantastic. So I also picked up the next book in the anthology series, and this is A Year of Ravens, which takes the action to, I believe, England. And this is a novel of Boudicca's rebellion, which has always been really intriguing to me as well. You'll get a lot of the same writers in here, but this is another 500 pager. Oh, it's a 545 page anthology. $5.99, guys. Let's see here. Yeah, it's set in Britannia, right? England. It's all about a red-haired queen named Boudica and who led her people in a desperate rebellion against the might of Rome. And these are their stories, and gives you another listing of the stories. So again, so this is the one I need to get, A Day of Fire, which is about Pompeii, baby. So if you like collections of stories and you're really interested and you love historical fiction and these two eras in time are of interest to you, Troy, Rome against Boudica, I mean, got these for $6 each, can't beat that. All right. Yes. So this was another novel that I picked up. I picked up this author, her first book, which was called The Witch and the Tsar. And this was another book she wrote that I hadn't heard of, but the plot sounds really up my alley. It's you'll know it as soon as I read of it. But this is called The Haunting of Moscow House, Olesya Salnikova Gilmore. The Haunting of Moscow House. So not too massive. It says here, it is the summer of 1921, and a group of Bolsheviks has taken over Irina and Lily Goleteva's ancestral home in Moscow, a stately mansion falling into disrepair. The remaining members of their family are ordered to move into the cramped attic while the officials take over an entire wing of grand rooms downstairs. The sisters understand it is the way of things and know they must forget their noble upbringing to survive in this new Soviet Russia. And Russia is one of my my niche areas of study. But the house begins to whisper of a traumatic past, not as dead as they thought. So not only is it combining like Russian history, the Russian Revolution, but it's also bringing in the other thing I love, which is good ghost stories and a little bit of horror. Because, and I've got some horror here I'm going to show you as well. So eager to escape it and their unwelcome new landlords, Irina and Lily find jobs with the recently arrived American Relief Administration, an organization meant to ease the post-revolutionary famine in Russia. For the sisters, the ARA provides much needed food and employment, as well as a chance for sensible Irina to help those less fortunate, and for artistic Lily to express herself for a good cause. It might just lead them to love too. But at home, the spirits of their deceased family awaken, desperate to impart what really happened to them during the revolution. Soon, one of the officials living in the house is found dead. Was his death caused by something supernatural? Or by someone all too human? And are Irina, Lily, and their family next? Only unearthing the frightening secrets of Moscow House will reveal all. So that just sounded like it had everything in it that I would enjoy. So, and I had already picked up in hardcover Gilmore's first book, The Witch and the Tsar. So, yeah, kind of like a completionist thing. Plus, I really like the sound of that plot. Oh, yes. I've been getting back, not to say getting back into, I've been, the, the only kind of sci-fi I will really read anymore, it has to have an element of horror to it. I mean, I'm just like Aliens, one of my favorite movies of all time. And so I like a good like outer space novel, but I want something scary to be happening. And so this finally came to Book Outlet, and when I was so thrilled to get it for $5.99, I got it in paperback. This is The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. The cave will swallow them whole. That's good. Sounds good. Let's see here, without having to read everything again, because I do have to limit which books I'm reading the synopses of, but it's a thrilling atmospheric debut with the intensive drive of the Martian and gravity and the creeping dread of annihilation, in which a caver on a foreign planet finds herself on a terrifying psychological and emotional journey for survival. Oh, this looks good. Yep. So a debut novel, and it's got, I hope it, is the juice is worth the squeeze, as they say. Sure looks good though, doesn't it? The Luminous Dead. So I picked that up. Oh, here's a classic of military fiction, military history fiction, historical fiction. I kept meaning to get this. It would come and go on Book Outlet. Was able to get it before it ran out again, out of stock. This is a beautiful, I think it's a nice paperback version from Picador, the trade paperback edition of Norman Mailer's classic, and this is in the 50th anniversary edition of The Naked and the Dead. Yeah, Picador, right? So really, that's the only thing about it. It's just this one little dot for the remainder. Otherwise, brand new, $5.99. I mean, this is over 700 pages. So for $5.99, you're getting your money's worth. I'll read this one just because I think it's an important work to highlight. Hailed as one of the finest novels to come out of the Second World War, The Naked and the Dead received unprecedented critical acclaim upon its publication and has since enjoyed a long and well-deserved tenure in the American canon. This 50th anniversary edition features a new introduction created especially for the occasion by Norman Mailer. Let's see when this came out, because Norman Mailer is not alive anymore. Yeah, this version came out in 1998, so it was written in 1948. I can do math. Written in fascinating detail, the story follows a platoon of foot soldiers who are fighting for the possession of the Japanese-held island of Anopope. Composed, it says it right here, composed in 1948 with the wisdom of a man twice Mailer's age and the raw courage of the young man he was, The Naked and the Dead is representative of the best in 20th century American writing. So if this is a book that you've been meaning to read or get to, and you're looking for a cheap copy, just log on to Book Outlet. I promise you, I don't get any commissions. I'm not collaborating with them in any way. I'm just trying to help you guys out there because, times are tough for all of us. And frankly, I load up when I see sales so that, when the end comes, I've got my own personal library that no one can take from me. Anyway, yeah, see if it's available. Sometimes it'll pop up and it'll say low stock and you just got to pull the trigger real fast. But I was really happy to finally get this, and I want to read it soon. So, yeah, I can't wait. This would be a fun book to read with someone, I think. Oh, and this is, I'm just slowly filling in some gaps. I haven't started reading this. This kind of goes along with the campy horror, titles. This is the second in the series, I believe. I picked up the first book. This is by Stephen Graham Jones, I should say, whom I loved his book, The Buffalo Hunter. I wrote a review of it. And then I loved The Buffalo Hunter so much, and I hadn't read Stephen Graham Jones before. I went out and bought a copy of The Only Good Indians, and then there was this other series that began with My Heart is a Chainsaw. And so I have that. I bought that first novel in this series and my last book outlet fiction haul. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I always kind of like to, you know, have some books ready to go for like the Halloween season for, you know, horror and scary stuff. So this is the second in that series after My Heart is a Chainsaw, and that is Don't Fear the Reaper. And I got it in a hardcover edition for $5.99. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Don't Fear the Reaper. And I should say, guys, so that sale's going on right now. I already made a small order and it arrived just the other day. So I do have more fiction to show you. I got to see when the sale ends, but I'm pretty much cleaning up everything that I want to get. I almost started buying a couple of novels in the Longmire series by Craig Johnson, because that's another series I'd like to start. But anyway, I got Don't Fear the Reaper. I know the third book is available. I'm just like, should I just wait until I've read at least the first? Because, you know, what if I don't like any of them? So I think I'm going to wait, and I'm going to just stick with My Heart is a Chainsaw and Don't Fear the Reaper. I don't want to give anything away. Yeah, so anyway, you can look it up if you're curious, but I had to get that. And like I said, I've been enjoying discovering Stephen Graham Jones's work. That's the fun of it. You know, you read a work of fiction by someone, and then if you're like me, then you kind of like to discover the rest of their catalog, as it were. And I probably already have this story in my Library of America edition of the works of Zora Neale Hurston, but for $5.99, I really like the look of this book. I love the cover, and I got it in hardcover, again, for $5.99. So I picked up The Life of Herod the Great, a novel by Zora Neale Hurston. It's put out by Amistad Press. Let's see, let's do something different. Instead of reading The Dust Jacket, it says here, this is a never-before-published novel from Hurston that reveals the valorous and visionary life of Herod the Great. I'm going to check my Library of America edition to see if it's in here. I'm pretty sure it is, but it, you know, it's saying it's never before published, but I don't know. They published this book in, no, maybe not. So I'm glad I picked it up. It's 2025. This version came out. I'm intrigued by it. Come on and focus. There you go. This is about over 330 pages. It says on the back, this comes from the preface, why a life of Herod the Great? And I think this is where she answers it, right? Yes. She says, for many valid reasons, the first being that the West, whose every nation professes Christianity, should be better acquainted with the historical Herod, instead of the deliberately folklore Herod. Outside of Herod's connection with Christianity, rarely has an individual appeared who gleamed and glittered from so many facets. He has impressed himself upon the pages of history as an athlete, a soldier of the first class, an equally able administrator, a statesman, a devotee of higher learning, as a great and tragic lover, and as a friend as famous as Damon and Pythian. So, yeah, enlighten me, Zora. I'll pick that up. $5.99. I'm so happy. Okay, and this is I picked up a mystery that kind of completes the series I've got going on so far. I think this might be the third or fourth book in the series by Nev March. This is The Silversmith's Puzzle. And I just love the cover, and I just love historical fiction mysteries and mystery series that go to different places. So I'll tell you a little bit more about, it's a Captain Jim and Lady Diana mystery. The first book in the series was A Murder in Old Bombay. That was her debut. And now she's got Yes, I have the other three, the other two in the series. So I've got Murder in Old Bombay, Peril at the Exposition, and The Spanish Diplomat Secret. I have shown those on the channel before, especially the last one, The Spanish Diplomat Secret. Have that in hardcover. So this is the next installments in the Lady Diana and Lord Captain Jim series, and this one is set in 1894, and of course in colonial India. So again, like a completionist thing, I wanted to get the latest. Fantastic. We're doing well. We're doing well. We're going to make it through. And this is a random just novel that I don't know. I just saw it and I'm like, this is interesting. And for $5.99, I said, yeah. This is Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Sadawi. This little paperback here. From the rubble-strewn streets of U.S.-occupied Baghdad, Hadi, a scavenger and an oddball fixture at a local cafe, collects human body parts and stitches them together to create a corpse. His goal, he claims, is for the government to recognize the parts as people and to give them proper burial. But when the corpse goes missing, a wave of eerie murder sweeps the city. Hadi soon realizes he's created a monster, one that needs human flesh to survive, first from the guilty and then from anyone in its path. With white-knuckle horror and black humor, Frankenstein in Baghdad captures the surreal reality of contemporary Iraq. Of course, the horror elements also I found really intriguing, so I thought I'd pick this one up. Oh, see? Wide variety of stuff, right? And I kind of, wide variety. Here's another author I've been meaning to explore. I've got one of his other books. I think I've already shown you those, maybe? No. Here, okay. I've got two books by this author, one in hardcover, one in paperback, but I've been meaning to explore his work. It's supposed to be like a thriller, horror writer, and this is Christopher Golden. So let's start up with this one. This one's supposed to be really good and kind of right up my alley of interest. This is Road of Bones. Not a huge read, as you can see, but let me tell you. Okay, so it has the environment that I like, the geography that I like, the setting that I like. So I just had to get it. It says here, Siberia's Kolyma Highway is 1,200 miles of gravel-packed permafrost within driving distance of the Arctic Circle. A narrow path known as the Road of Bones, it is a massive graveyard for the former Soviet Union's Gulag prisoners. Hundreds of thousands of people were worked to death and left where their bodies fell, consumed by the frozen elements and plowed beneath the road. My Lord. Documentary producer Felix Tieglin is in Russia to drive the highway, envisioning a new series capturing life and death on the Road of Bones with a ride to the town of Akust, the coldest place on Earth, collecting ghost stories and local legends along the way. However, when Tig and his team reach their destination, they find the town abandoned save for one catatonic 9-year-old girl and a pack of predatory wolves, faster and smarter than any wild animals should be. Pursued by the otherworldly beasts on the furthest edges of civilization, Tig's companions confront ancient evil and the primal spirits of the wilderness along the Road of Bones. It is a harrowing journey that will push Tig to the brink of human endurance. So I was like, sign me up for that. Yeah, Christopher Golden. So I'm going to start with that one. I think this is one of his more recent books. He's written several. Oh, he's written a lot. He's written a lot. But this also had a cool setting. I love books that like set at sea or on ships as well. So I picked up in hardcover The Nightbirds. Ooh, spooky. Another Christopher Golden offering. A little bit chipped up on the $5.99. I don't care. And you know, and I'll donate these when I'm done. But so what is this one about? Next gripping atmospheric horror novel set in a deteriorated half-sunken freighter ship off the coast of Galveston, Texas. Let's see, there's a long description here. Let's see. Charlie Book and Ruby Cahill have a history. After their love ended in heartbreak years ago, they never expected to see each other again. Now, as part of his work for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, Book lives aboard the Christabel, a 19th century freighter. No, he lives on it, a 19th century freighter half sunken off the shore of Galveston. Over many years, a massive forest of mangrove trees has grown up through the deck of the ship, wow, creating a startlingly beautiful enigma that Book refers to as the floating forest. When a powerful storm churns through the Gulf, he intends to sleep on board as usual. Oh, there's a lot going on here. Hang on, I'm going to read all this to you, see if you're interested. But when he arrives at the dock, he's stunned to find Ruby there waiting for him, and she's not alone. With her are a mysterious woman, May, and her infant child, who ask Book to hide them aboard the Christabel while they're on the run. Only it isn't the police who are after them. Oh my goodness. It's a coven of witches who the woman has fled from, stealing away the helpless infant for whom the coven had hideous plans, or so May claims. It's lunacy, and Book wants nothing to do with it. But after the way he and Ruby ended things and the unspoken pain between them, he can't refuse. Yet even as he brings them out to the ruined ship and its floating forest, there are shadowed figures looming back in Galveston, waiting out the storm. And despite the worsening wind and rain, the night birds are flying, scouring the coastline for their prey. I know who the night birds are. They're the witches. They're on their broomsticks. They're flying around looking for that infant. Anyway, yeah, man, I thought I'd try it out. Cool. All right. I was watching another, I don't know, it was something on YouTube, maybe another booktube channel or just a podcast. And someone mentioned this writer's work and a few of her short stories that he said were really powerful. And I was like, interesting. So I went and looked it up, and they had the collected works of this author. And I got it for $5.99. And the story is in here, so I can't wait to read it. This is the collected works of Joanne Beard. This is a edition by, this is an interesting publisher. I don't know if this is from the UK or what. Shoot. This is Serpent's Tail, which is an imprint of Profile Books. Yeah, this is a London edition. The collected works of Joanne Beard. It's got the nice French flaps. And I haven't read a short story collection in a while, and I thought, why not? And it has the story in here. It's got an author's note to the 2021 edition. There's a lot of stuff in here. But The Boys of My Youth, Festival Days. Yeah, I think there's one set around like 9/11 and stuff. So I decided I would try this out and, try to get a little more literary and read some short story collections. Yes. I want to get back into reading Douglas Preston and Lincoln Childs at some point. I kind of fell off the Pendergast novels, even though I really enjoyed them. I'm so far behind. It's too daunting to start up again. But there's a new series that I wanted to check out, and it's just by Douglas Preston. And this is the first book in this series, and I already have the advanced reader copy of the second book. So I was like, I need to go and purchase the first book in the series so I can be prepared to read, maybe review the sequel. So this is by Douglas Preston, and this is called Extinction. Yeah, it's put out by Forge. And Extinction is about, Erebus Resort, occupying a magnificent 100,000-acre valley deep in the Colorado Rockies. Hey, that's my backyard. Offers guests the experience of viewing woolly mammoths, Irish elk, and giant ground sloths in their native habitat, brought back from extinction through the magic of genetic manipulation. So that's Jurassic Park, anyone? When a billionaire's son and his new wife are kidnapped and murdered in the Erebus backcountry by what is assumed to be a gang of eco-terrorists, Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent Francis Cash partners with County Sheriff James Colcord to track down the perpetrators. As the killings mount and the valley is evacuated, Cash and Colcord must confront an ancient, intelligent, and malevolent presence at Erebus, bent not on resurrection, but extinction. All right. So, yeah. Oh, and he dedicates it to his writing partner, Lincoln Childs, because Lincoln Childs not on this one. This is all Douglas Preston. So I'm intrigued, and I've always enjoyed just the kind of the adventure, the supernatural shenanigans that they do with the Pendergast series. Preston and Child, they always have a little element of kookiness going on, X-Files stuff. Really enjoy those. Oh, yeah. So, and I think in my last book haul, a video, history nonfiction or something, I told you I got the memoir by this author. This is the sequel. Oh, wait, did I show you this? Okay. Well, I haven't shown you this yet. A while ago, I purchased this on Amazon because I've heard so many great things about it. It was a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. So, whoa, I almost hit myself. The Sympathizer, right, by Viet Thanh Nguyen. And so I picked it up, and I just haven't had a chance to show you it yet, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But then I noticed that there's a sequel to it, and I got it hardcover for $5.99, obviously, and that is The Committed. So I had to get it. And The Committed is the long-awaited follow-up to the Pulitzer Prize-winning The Sympathizer, which has sold more than 1 million copies worldwide. Yeah, so this follows on the adventures of the Sympathizer. The man in this one is, does it give a name? The narrator, a communist double agent, is a man of two minds. I think that's what they call him, just a man of two minds. A half French, half Vietnamese army captain who comes to America after the fall of Saigon, and while building a new life with other Vietnamese refugees in Los Angeles, is secretly reporting back to his communist superiors in Vietnam. Okay, so that was the premise of The Sympathizer. So The Committed follows the man of two minds as he arrives in Paris in the early 1980s with his blood brother Bon. The pair try to overcome their pasts and ensure their futures by engaging in capitalism in one of its purest forms, drug dealing. Fantastic. What can go wrong? It's got some decal edges on here. Really nice copy. So again, this is kind of a purchase to complete a series here. I got my friend Graham Watson, who wrote the Invention of Charlotte Bronte, right? Yes, that is the title. I got this because it so intrigued me. So this is a historical fiction novel, and this is called Bronte's Mistress by Finola Austin. This one is about Branwell, the brother of the famous sister writers, and his love affair with Lydia Robinson, who was mistress of Thorpe Green Hall. Their romance in 1843 in Yorkshire, England. I've always been intrigued by what went down with that relationship. If you've read the Invention of Charlotte Bronte or any of the biographies on the family, you know about this very scandalous, controversial relationship that Branwell had with a married woman. And how the sisters felt about it. So I was just like, I was like, oh, someone fictionalized it. And I'd be really intrigued to see how this is presented. So I had to pick up Bronte's Mistress, just some standalone novel out there I came across when I was browsing the sale. Oh, and this one I'm very much excited about. I almost ordered it from Blackwell's to get it from over the pond. We finally got copies in America. And this is the fiction of this historian of ancient history. He's actually writing fiction now, historical fiction, military fiction. And that's Adrian Goldsworthy. And he's got, look at this big beefy novel he wrote, Hill 112 or 112. Look at this. This is not ancient history, obviously. This is put up by Head of Zeus, which is a UK publisher. But Book Outlet finally got their hands on some copies, and I got this beautiful. I saved so much money by not ordering it at Blackwell's. So happy that it came as a bargain book to Book Outlet, and I'm pretty sure there's copies still available if you want to hop on this sale and pick this up for that cheap. So this is Hill 112, and yeah, it's a big book. It's like 450 pages. Oh yeah, and it's set around D-Day, June 6, 1944. The trajectory of the Second World War, and with it the course of modern history, is changed forever. For 3 young former schoolmates from South Wales, their war is only just beginning. James was the school cricket captain. Now, a few short years later, he is in charge of a troop of Sherman tanks. Mark, just 19, must lead a platoon of infantrymen into battle. And Bill, always something of a loner, sees the heart of the fighting as a private soldier. These young men and thousands of others will soon be a part of one of the bloodiest and most brutal parts of the Normandy campaign, the battle for Hill 112. The horror, the fear, the filth, the savage fighting, the sheer exhilaration and moments of farce and laughter. Those who come through the carnage will never be the same again. He's also written some ancient history series, which I still want to get to. He's written these 3 books, The Fort, the City, and the Wall, which are, like the Roman eagle. So that's it. But this is like his first foray, I believe, into modern warfare, World War II stuff. So I was really happy to get this for so cheap. All right. 2 more books, guys. I'm doing really well. I thought it was going to take forever. Now, this book is another completion purchase. I have the first 2 books in this writer's, I don't call it a series, but they all follow onto each other. This is, the author's name is Lars Meiting, and this is The Night of the Scourge. Really evocative cover. This is put out by Overlook Press. This is the 3rd book. Yes, okay, it's a trilogy. Yep. So not a series, but a trilogy called the Sister Bells trilogy. And I have the first 2 books in that series, which started off with The Bell in the... No. Yes, it did. Sorry. It started off with The Bell in the Lake. I have The Bell in the Lake. I just recently, I think last year, purchased the 2nd book in the series, also from Book Outlet. And I have that one in hardcover as well. And that one is The Reindeer Hunters. And that came out in 2022. And now The Night of the Scourge, which came out in 2025. So I've got the trilogy. And basically, it's a family drama set in World War II era Norway. It does say that this book could be read as a standalone, but it beautifully completes the Sister Bells trilogy, but can be read as a standalone. It's a grand and epic novel that intertwines Norwegian folklore and mythology with a rich story of hardship and passion. So just, another interesting historical fiction series that I wanted to check out. I'm always liking the experience of reading new writers and also international writers. So I love that. And it's a pretty beefy novel. There's no stinting there with length. It's over 530 pages. All right, and here's a novel that I know a lot of people have made fun of. I've never read any of his stuff, and I'd never have been interested in reading his series of books that are like a diary of seasons, about life as a man, as a father. I don't know, but I know a lot of bro dudes love him. I'm not a bro dude, but this one sounded interesting. And he's a contemporary writer, and I'm trying to get to understand where contemporary fiction is going when I have time to indulge in reading these type of novels. So anyway, this is Karl Ove Knausgaard, and this is his book, The Wolves of Eternity. This is a pretty heavy book, so it's still fairly brand new. It's put out by Penguin Press. remainder mark, but $5.99 for this book, guys. And it came out in 2021. Translation copyright 2023. Yeah, another book in translation, because I do like to read books in translation, fiction in translation. I'll read you the premise, and this is our last book, guys. So yeah, I'm at a 50-minute, but I knew it would be a long video. I was hoping I just wouldn't go over an hour or anything. The books that I talked to you about just before about him is that he wrote a series of books called My Struggle, like book 1, book 2, book 3. And I was like, do I want to read those? Would that appeal to me in any way? And I'm like, you know what? Let's just see if you like even his writing style first. So here's like a standalone novel with an actual plot and characters and stuff. So it's set in 1986. 20-year-old Sivert Loining returns from the military to his mother's home in southern Norway. One evening, his dead father comes to him in a dream. Realizing that he doesn't really know who his father was, Sivert begins to investigate his life and finds clues pointing to the Soviet Union. You can see the trend here. I'm like, oh, that's interesting to me. Let me keep reading. What he learns changes his past and undermines the entire notion of who he is. But when his mother becomes ill and he must care for his little brother Jor on his own, he no longer has time or space for lofty speculations. In present-day Russia, Alevtina Kotov, a biologist working at Moscow University, is traveling with her young son to the home of her stepfather to celebrate his 80th birthday. As a student, Albertina was bright, curious, and ambitious, asking the big questions about life and human consciousness. But as she approaches middle age, most of that drive is gone, and she finds herself in a place she doesn't want to be, without really understanding how she got there. Her stepfather, a musician, raised her as his own daughter, and she was never interested in learning about her biological father. When she finally starts looking into him, she learns that he died many years ago and left 2 sons, Jor and Sivert. Years later, when Sivert and Alevtina meet in Moscow, 2 very different approaches to life emerge. And as a bright star appears in the sky, it illuminates the wonder of human existence and the mysteries that exist beyond our own worldview. All right. Sounds like it might get a little nutty. Set against the political and cultural backdrop of both the 1980s and the present day, The Wolves of Eternity is an expansive and affecting book about relations to one another, to nature, to the dead. So, let me give it a try. Let me see. If I don't like it, I'll DNF it. I'll donate it. Whatever. All right, guys. So that is my $5.99 fiction book called Bonanza. From my recent outing. Well, not my recent, because I already got some more from the fiction sale going on right now. But here's some right here. There's no way I can hold up all these books. There's just no way. Got some more here. Oh my God. Yep. Luckily, I bought a new revolving bookcase, which I still need to put together. So, we got some more here for you guys, right? And yeah, we got some paperbacks over here. These were from a couple of different orders. So they're all kind of combined. I think I did this about 4 or 5 months ago. So I will have another fiction book haul video at some point. Probably in, I'm going to say July. I'm going to space it out a little bit for you guys. But let me know what you thought about these fiction titles and what appeals to you. What's going to make you rush over to Book Outlet and secure your own super cheap copy. I'm always tickled to know that I've hooked someone up with a book that they are, eager to get their hands on. All right. So thanks again for joining me here at the History Shelf. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing. And we'll see you back here real soon on the History Shelf.